All right, now the raw edges of the atarah are finished. And we can move on to the fun part, which is the heart and soul of machine applique, and that is finishing the raw edge of the applique. Let me show you the effect that we're going to go for. Basically what we're doing is we're going to use a medium width close zigzag stitch called a satin stitch, and we're just going to follow right along to cover the raw edge of the applique. Now ideally it's right along the edge and nice and smooth without any gaps, but if you are new to machine applique, getting it pretty close to the edge without any major gaps and making sure that the applique is secured to the background fabric means you've done your job. Now on our So Jewish blog, we have a couple of articles, extensive articles on machine applique, but I can show you now the main things you need to get great results with this project. You'll see that this black line here mimics the shape of the building here on the applique. So let me show you what you need to know. You'll notice here at the beginning, we start with just some straight back stitches, and then we switch to zigzag. You want a medium width stitch. You want them really close, nearly zero, much closer than shown in this diagram. The important thing to notice here is that the right side of the stitches land just next to the edge of the applique on the background fabric. You don't want the zigzag stitches to be centered on the edge of the applique. You want the stitches to lie mostly on the applique itself. All right, so here we move forward, and here we get to an inside corner. We're going to be turning to the right. The way to handle an inside corner is to go past the corner, and the distance you go past is about equal to the width of the zigzag stitches you're using. And then you stop with the needle on the left-hand side in the fabric, on the left-hand side of the zigzag, and then you pivot the fabric. And then when you move forward, the right-hand side is going to lie right where it should, just on the edge of the applique, and go forward. Here we've got an outside corner. We're going to turn to the left. The way you handle an outside corner is to stop right at the corner with the needle where this red spot is on the right-hand side of the zigzag. With that with the needle in the fabric there, we turn, pivot the fabric. We take the next straight line. Here again, we have another inside curve. We handle it like the first one. Go a little bit past the corner. With the needle in the left-hand side, you pivot. And now we encounter this beautiful curved section. And in order to get around the curve, you're going to have to pivot every once in a while. You go forward, and with the needle in the right-hand side here, pivot, go forward a little bit again, and when you find the needle is getting away from the edge of the applique, you pivot again, go forward and pivot until you've gone all the way around the curve. Now, an important point here is that you're always pivoting when the needle is on the outside of the zigzag stitches. You can imagine if the curve went this way to the left and the zigzag stitches were going this way, you would pivot on the outside of this kind of a curve. But here we're always going to pivot on the right side, which is the outside. And when we get to the end of the curve, we've got another inside corner. So you go a little bit past the corner. With the needle on the left-hand side, we pivot, go down to this corner with the needle on the right side now. We pivot, forward again, left side, pivot, and just continue on that way. And that's basically what it is. You're just going to then go along this series of straight lines and corners and curves until you've done the entire edge of the applique. Here's the technique in action. All right, I'm going to start here near the beginning. Put my needle down, and I'm going to take 2 straight stitches backwards. Now I'm going to switch to zigzag, and I'm going to start. I'm going to move my needle back to make sure it's starting in the center. Okay. I just want to make sure I'm in the right spot, and I can see the machine over the camera. Okay. And now I'm just going to continue on this straight way. I'm coming up on that inside corner. I'm going to slow down a little bit. Alright, I've just passed the corner. I'm going to take a couple more stitches. I'm going to pivot and take that next straight edge. Now I'm coming up on that outside corner. I'm going to go right to the corner and stop with the needle on the right hand side and pivot the fabric. And I'm going to go forward and take the next straight edge. Now I'm coming up on an inside corner. I'm just approaching that curve. So I'm going to go a little bit past the corner. And I'm going to stop with the needle on the left-hand side, and I'm going to pivot, and I'm going to start along the beginning of that curve. And here I am going to stop with the needle on the right-hand side, on the outside of the curve, and take a few more stitches. Now, for this project, or this demonstration today, I'm using a computerized machine, but you don't need a computerized machine to do this project. You can do it on any machine that has straight and zigzag stitches. And in fact, if you saw our last training video, number 2, you will have noticed I was using my workhorse sewing machine and talking about how wonderful it was. Bought it 10 years ago for $100, and it was my best investment ever. And as it happened, a few days after I did that tutorial, that machine decided that after 10 years it had done all the work it was going to do in this world. So that faithful little machine no longer does zigzag, does do straight stitches, so I think I'll keep it around a little bit while. I've learned to love that machine. But this is why today I'm working on the computerized machine, even though you don't need a machine this fancy. Alright, so I think you have the idea. I'm going to go ahead and finish this up. I'm just finishing up this top edge of the building applique. And as I get to the end, take my last zigzag stitches. Now I'm going to switch to finish off. I'm going to switch back to a straight stitch. I'm going to adjust the needle position so that it's going to go down into the fabric just to the left of the zigzag stitches. Hit to go backwards, take couple stitches backwards. Okay, and that is a nice, neat way to end the applique. Lovely.